Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Okay guys, what we're doing today, we're going to be looking at the Chimera, the best legendary champions that you can take in to this fight. What's interesting here is the meta is kind of swinging on Chimera. And from when I did my original video talking about the type of team comp that I think you'd want to be running, I'm seeing a significant change. And the one biggest change that I'm seeing from a high-end point of view is that a lot of teams bring one damage dealer now when you're talking about real high damage team comps. And I always assumed it would be two as like a staple. So you've got some examples where you've got two, like here with Zod, bringing in two enemy max HPers, which is what I thought was going to be the meta generally. But I'm seeing a lot more team comps like this now where it's one out and out damage dealer doing crazy damage and then four supports. And the supports are bringing ways to basically unlock trials, but they're also bringing a number of key elements to your team. So things like a decreased attack against the boss, things like a revive on your team, heals, tons of turn meter. Turn meter pushing feels like it's absolutely like the meta as it stands right now. I'm seeing teams with Senna here a lot because she's that kind of like specialist in turn meter push. You know, we're seeing revive, we're seeing the ability to reduce incoming damage with passives. We're also seeing the ability to push outgoing damage with passives. So there's all these different elements that you're trying to piece together. And you know, there's definitely a lot of mythicals that can kind of jump in and do tons of work. You know, when we're looking at some of the best teams out there, we're seeing a lot of mythical champions, but I am seeing a lot of legendaries again and again because of the amount of different things or effects they're bringing to the fight. So really interesting. One of the other things which I was interested in when I started to go through this and doing a bit of a deep dive is the types of gear sets I'm seeing again and again as well. So I'm seeing a lot of the support based champs in protection set. I'm seeing a lot of the debuffers in feral gear. Okay, it shouldn't be any surprise to you, but that's where people are really finding their sort of min-max ability. I'm seeing Merciless a lot on the damage dealers, and again, going through different people's team comps, I'm kind of seeing this consistently. So I'm also seeing Relentless popping up a lot more than I ever have done in the past, which is quite interesting. But definitely some sort of interesting team comps going on. So let's talk about some of the different individual champions that I'm seeing consistently. There's also, annoyingly, I don't have that many Void Shards. Senna is up there in this group, okay? She's been one of my most wanted Void champions for a while. And why is she so prevalent in both Chimera and Hydra? It's basically this damn passive. This passive is nuts. As I said early on, like pushing turn meter is one of the key ways to do crazy damage on Chimera. And that's why Senna and Necmo are being seen a lot in this content. She's got this passive here. Whenever a continuous heal buff activates on an ally, fills the turn meter of all allies by 5%. So she's then being pushed into team comps where there's a lot of continuous heals going off. She puts out continuous heals herself, and she's just got like turn meter fill all over the place. But she also brings the key other skill you need in a revive. So just like so much going on in her kit to just be the ultimate support for a Chimera fight. So Senna's in there as that kind of one of those big turn meter fillers. We've also got the Lizard, the one I got on my free to play, but I've never picked up on my main, Necmo Thar. Again, like crazy ability to push turn meter. So fills his champion's turn meter by 5% each time a debuff on an enemy is removed or is transferred or expires. So every time the Chimera changes form, all the debuffs are wiped off, tons of turn meter, plus obviously they just fall off over time. And he brings a load of really valuable debuffs as well. So that's why that feral set for a Necmo is really effective. Decrease attack, one of the key debuffs you want for most forms of Chimera just to stay alive. And then you've got Leech, obviously helps you heal up. Even as you're doing damage to yourself, you can heal. So on the ram form, which is useful, but decreased speed enables you to get more hits in on the time that you've got. Really effective debuff and increased speed and turn meter for yourself. So Necmo is in there as one of those like turn meter pushers, in terms of like top tier versions. I didn't see it on the kind of team comps I was just looking at there, but I am seeing Krisk in a lot of team comps as well. Kind of, I mean, certainly not as good, but he does bring decreased speed. He does bring increased speed for the team, and he's bringing a bunch of debuffs as well. Like when he's hit, he puts out debuffs which are valuable for your team, and he's bringing some protection for you. Him alongside a Senna is kind of nutty as well with this continuous heal buffs coming out as well. But yeah, really, really useful, like old school top tier legendary that perhaps is getting a bit of a lease of life in new content as well, which is good to see. Let's go on to one of the top tiers, legendaries. I mean, I am seeing mythicals. I'm seeing these kind of like Unity dudes. But yeah, Fina is the one that seems to be the absolute goat of this content. So what's going on? Basically, 75% chance of increasing the cooldown of random skills, whatever. When counter-attacking with this skill, teams up with a random ally. So you're bringing an ally into the fight, and they'll come in with their default skill. You've got block debuffs, you've got block damage, and counter-attack on an ally for 2 turns, and resets the cooldown of all the champion's skills. This is the main part, really. So it's a bit like, and we'll talk about it in a minute, Lamassu, this ability to just say, get your main skills back to 1 damage dealer. When we're talking about this 4 supports, 1 damage dealer comp, it's generally one person in the team is able to do resets. And those resets means your damage dealer are just bringing in high damage all the time. She's also got good buffs for your team. She's got extra turn mechanics if you bring some more people in. She's got cleansing going on. Like there's just loads in her kit. And she's got this ability to push turn meter. Whenever a buff is placed on an ally, fills their turn meter. And then obviously she gets more benefits as well for the Unity stuff. So Fina is absolutely top tier. Now I did an arena video with Lamassu the other day, but definitely feel like I'm going to start to push her into my Chimera team. So Lamassu, similar to what we just talked about there with Fina, has got the ability to reduce the cooldowns of a target teammate's skills. She also, though, does a 50% turn meter fill. So it's almost like have another go. And by the way, use whatever skill you want. Really, really cool ability here, as well as giving a mini cleanse. She's bringing decreased attack. So 70% chance if booked on an A1 against Chimera, really effective. And she's bringing other debuffs as well. So block buffs and decreased speed. Decreased speed means you get more turns in. Block buffs obviously is obvious. You don't get the true fear, which is a shame because actually it would be useful in this fight, but still lots of really valuable things in Lamassu's kit here. The immunity is irrelevant, and each debuff placed by this champion decreases the target's turn meter by 5%. Won't happen here, but I think you do get all of the resistances and stuff, so all the decreases of resistance and accuracy. Only thing with this passive, the passive's kind of irrelevant because I'm pretty sure when the Chimera changes form, this resets. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it does. And then we've got speed in all battles as well. But yeah, Lamassu really, this A3 is the big deal because you're pushing your single damage dealer to do their main damage ability over and over again. Now, a champion we can all get and is top tier for this is Lydia. So I'm seeing Lydia in a lot of the like high-end teams. Again, there's sort of turn meter mechanics here in terms of just speed increase for our team. But she's also bringing really valuable debuffs, decrease defense and weaken, and strengthen. She's bringing some of the debuffs that you can use for the trials. So actually a more useful A3 than you would think here. She's also bringing a fear on her A1. Yeah, and basically she's just a useful support champion to be bringing in, certainly in that protection gear to try and protect these buffs that are coming out onto your team. If we keep going on the support train, I mean, the Sylvan Watchers have got a ton of great champs. So I'm seeing Elva in a lot of good teams, 3-turn cooldown on a great revive. And then she's got good buffs for your team with some speed. Also a little bit of healing going on. So yeah, really, really useful. You've got this fella. He's a bit like a Duchess, but probably more useful for Chimera. So what we've got here, irrelevant A1. We've got the increased attack and veil on the A2. So the veil is basically giving us straight up damage reduction, which is useful. Also a bit of turn meter. He's the revive here with turn meter, and also giving you some nice buffs. And then his passive, allies under Perfect Veil, placed by this champion, deal more damage. Allies under Veil deal an additional 10% damage to enemies under Veil, Perfect Veil. It's kind of irrelevant, but just basically a damage push is one of the reasons why he's doing so well. Feral, another one of these, like on my most wanted list, I guess. He's bringing decreased speed. He's bringing some good debuffs in terms of just getting trials and stuff done, but decreased accuracy and block buffs. He is bringing increased resistance and Perfect Veil. And then he is bringing damage, as well as more accuracy and stuff. But basically, if an ally is under 4 or more buffs, damage dealt goes up 20%, which is one of the reasons why he is top tier for this as well, especially on that 4 support group. So there are a couple of champs that just basically bring a lot of debuffs and therefore could help you boost trials. Gwendolyn is one of those, really useful for just basically pushing trials. There's actually one that I did not expect to see at all. I had to sort of do a little bit digging into this. Theodore. I've seen Theodore in a lot of high-end teams, and I was like, did not expect to see that. But I guess it's the ability to push your speed, the ability to get some things like poison sensitivity, poisons out on the boss, decreased speed on the boss. But yeah, I was quite shocked to see Theodore coming in, and he's not in there to push damage. He's in there for his debuffs and buffs, I guess. So really interesting. Anyway, I wasn't expecting to see him in the mix. Who's the other one that I'm seeing a lot in terms of debuffs? Yeah, of course. So the other one, another one I don't have right now, but Riho is in there mainly because of her A2 and this ability to just throw a ton of debuffs on the enemy. And again, crazy heal, crazy A3 steal as well. But yeah, mainly in there because of this A2 and the ability to just throw a load of debuffs out there and help with things like trials. So let's talk damage. Let's talk damage. Now, in the best teams, I'm seeing mythicals like Toshiro. I'm actually seeing, again, I'm surprised by this, I'm seeing Carnage coming in as the damage dealer. So, you know, you've got, I mean, I tested him the other day. He hits hard. So I'm guessing it's just like the A2, A3, maybe the A1 with the chance to go in again sometimes. But yeah, Carnage coming in as a top tier damage dealer, which I did not expect to see at this point. One of the champions which I am pushing for right now, but it is painful. Let me show you the mission I'm on. So I'm back on the train, right? I'm focused in, back on the main account, which means I'm focused on Marius missions. I've just cleared a mission where I had to get like 10 mythical items. It cost me a lot of energy. It cost me about 3,000 gems plus all my energy. I cleared 2 missions super easy, and then it's like, obtain 4 mythical chest plates from a dungeon. I'm like, oh my lord, that's going to take a while. But I am on the Marius train. He's probably, in terms of a damage dealer, he's up there as one of my most wanted champs, and he's top tier. So anyone who's already picked him up, the horse is probably doing work for you in all content. This dude's crazy, but yeah, seeing him as the main damage dealer in a lot of these 1 damage dealer teams. Also, he's in there for the 2 damage dealer teams as well, alongside normally a Newt or an Atrisia, someone like that. But he's bringing buffs, which is useful. He's just nuking people down with enemy max HP hits. And yeah, that's basically it. That's all he needs. People are just resetting this ability. You get extra turn mechanics on this, so it cools down this quicker, and you're basically just doing your A2 over and over again. So Marius is god tier in terms of damage. The usual crew, honestly, Newt with his A3, especially when you've got champions that do cooldown resets of ability. So I'm keen to throw my Newt in alongside my Lamassu and try and see if I can push damage that way. Going for this like 4 support, 1 damage dealer comp versus my usual double damage dealer, which I usually use Atrisia and Newt together. So I'm interested to try that. Atrisia is another one, all enemy max HP champ hits, so that's going to do some work for you. I'm also seeing, outside of enemy max HP, let me just check. Oh yeah, of course, Ninja. Ninja's actually in there as a great free damage dealer we all picked up. This A2 throwing out the HP burns and doing work. longer fights always benefit from this passive. So you actually do want to build him to do hits in this type of build rather than just build him to land abilities. But yeah, the ability to sort of cycle through his A3 into A2 and just get a lot of just core damage away. So I've seen him in multiple billion damage teams when he's the only damage dealer alongside this kind of like 4 support comp. Champions like Lady Mikage pushing damage because of her ability to bring you in as a kind of ally attack, plus her ability to come in with a default skill. So yeah, her on the same team as a ninja is a great combo for pushing damage, but she's also just a good support to have in the mix anyway. I am seeing less frequently, but Teox, just a straight up hard hitter, is coming in and performing almost as well as, you know, some of these enemy max HP champs. And then I guess a couple of call outs in terms of ones I've tried and have been really effective. So Feedy, Tilcrest here, this ability to reduce the cooldown of your skills whilst also being your, as someone who brings turn meter fill, brings some debuffs as well. Turn meter fill also has got healing on his A1. So just a really, really great champion. He's kind of coming from the resistance side of things, so you can actually build out the ability to just not take all of the debuffs and all of the nastiness coming at you. If you're able to have, this is kind of a longer play, I guess, but I have been using Maud as a great champion here as well, with the decreased attack A1. Again, a bunch of, I guess, buff improvements for your team, whilst also decreasing the duration of buffs for the enemy. Revive for your team, so she's been my main reviver in my squad, plus some healing and stuff. So she's just generally a good support champion in the mix as well if you're able to pick her up. Some of us might have picked up Lady Noelle, which again is a just kind of like nice one to combo with. So she's bringing like your increased speed and the revive and stuff like that with good turn meter, good HP. So she's not a bad one to throw in the mix. We have got, he's not there. I always think he's there, but he's here. A Pardon, since his buff, is actually a really good champion again, as this kind of like one who's going to be pushing some turn meter whilst being a really good healer now. So a Pardon's another one that you can kind of like throw in the mix as a really, really great champion as well. So there's a lot of options here, but all I would say is focus on team comp. At least one reviver, probably 2 for most players, honestly. 2 forms of reviving. Even if it's like one of those supplementary revives, like if you were lucky enough to get a Laz, he's got this kind of supplementary revive rather than a core revive, okay? Make sure you've got turn meter push and decreased speed for the enemy. Make sure you've got supports that can just top up your healing or big shields. Make sure you've got a way to push the damage of your damage dealer, whether that's through these kind of like extra turn mechanics or reduce skill cooldown mechanics or those type of things. And then lastly, bring someone in who's done a pack a punch. Enemy max HP is where it's at for like easy damage, but some of these interesting mechanics around reducing the cooldown of a skill so you can keep going again and again with the big hits is interesting as well. And I guess most mythicals are worth looking at. You know, even someone like the Hive Lord here that I've had on my account, used him a bit for Hydra, but didn't really like stack up. He's actually really good in this fight because there's so much going on in their kits where you're bringing all sorts of different debuffs. You've got more chance to be able to unlock things like trials. You know, you've got the blend of, I guess, the ability to throw a ton of debuffs out there, or, you know, you've got the blend of like healing plus damage or crazy kind of stats like Galathea here. So do consider mythicals if you've got them. You know, I'm considering building out my Laz, for example, who currently has been dormant on my account, but has got one of the best arms in Raid Shadow Legends. So needs some love. But yeah, tons of options. Hopefully that video is helpful, and I will see you in the next one.